Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just jump right in. Have you ever wondered if the dramatic world-shifting scenarios predicted for 2026 are some kind of shadowy prophecy? Or are they really just algorithms calculating global blueprints? That's what we're breaking down today. We're going to look at exactly how artificial intelligence analyzes historical trends, power structures, and economic data to literally map out our world.
Can AI actually predict 2026? Look, when we hear about shocking forecasted events, it is super tempting to frame them as supernatural destiny. But are they? Honestly, what if they're just mathematically predictable outcomes driven by global debt, military shifts, and the decisions of global elites? Let's get right into the data.
Whoever controls AI would control the world. It's a heavy thought, right? And it's echoed by major tech leaders. It really highlights how AI is viewed as way more than just software. It's a literal mechanism for power. This ties perfectly into the idea of an algorithmic playbook for global affairs. Essentially, whoever builds and controls this AI infrastructure holds the ultimate geopolitical leverage.
But let's be totally clear here. AI is a pattern recognition tool, not a fortune teller. It doesn't gaze into a crystal ball. Instead, it predicts conflicts by crunching massive datasets on economics and historical alliances. Think about it. If you feed a system billions of pages of research, economic reports, and political history, it spots the patterns. It tells you what statistically happens next when specific political and economic dominoes start to fall.
Section 1. Information Warfare and AI, the digital battlefield. Because before we can grasp the physical conflicts, we absolutely have to understand the virtual ones.
Right now, threat intelligence data from Flashpoint shows we are living in a dual reality. On the defensive side, organizations are using AI as a shield to assess threats. But offensively, attackers are aggressively weaponizing those exact same AI workflows. They use sneaky tactics like steganographic prompting to hide malicious commands and basically trick automated systems into executing backdoors. So AI is literally being weaponized against itself.
The scale of this is wild. Flashpoint tracked a staggering 1,500% surge in illicit AI discussions in late 2025. Think about that. In just a single month, mentions of AI-related criminal activity hit 6 million. The digital underground is moving incredibly fast to adopt these tools to manipulate both information and critical infrastructure. And then you have experts at UCLA warning us about misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. They argue that these dangerous falsehoods, spread specifically for political advantage, will be the absolute biggest threat to public health in 2026. So digital warfare isn't just about hacking servers anymore. It's about hacking human perception and controlling the public narrative.
Section 2. The economics of global control. Let's pivot from the digital realm to the financial systems that actually dictate global power. Because, at the end of the day, money moves militaries. The financial strain happening right now is a massive catalyst. According to World Bank data, government debt in emerging markets and developing economies has hit a 55-year high. We're talking 70% of their GDP. When debt reaches that level, it mathematically triggers systemic vulnerabilities and often IMF interventions. AI algorithms easily flag these patterns as major precursors to national instability.
So instead of relying on shadowy conspiracies, AI just evaluates very real economic levers to forecast potential collapses. It looks at the mainstream push for central bank digital currencies. It tracks the massive geopolitical backlash over a proposed 10% global U.S. tariffs. It factors in domestic paralysis, like a historic 76-day U.S. government shutdown over immigration funding. Oh, and all of this is happening while the spatial computing market skyrockets to over $221 billion. These are the exact data points the algorithms are using to map out the year.
Moving on to Section 3. Shifting alliances and regional power struggles. Here's where we see how severe economic strain translates directly into kinetic military action.
Both World Bank economic data and AI pattern analyses are pointing to one specific region as the absolute epicenter of military and economic restructuring in 2026: the Middle East, North Africa, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. This massive area is essentially the nexus of global energy security and rapidly shifting geopolitical loyalties.
The math behind these conflicts is literally hiding in plain sight. Just look at the extreme economic distress in Iran, with massive spikes in inflation and a total exchange rate collapse. AI models correlate that exact vulnerability perfectly with the calculated military strikes and regime change goals unfolding there. The economic data is practically foreshadowing the military action.
If we analyze China impartially, AI models calculate their grand strategy is pretty clear-cut. First, aggressively build and export a vast AI and surveillance infrastructure to establish a global technology blueprint. Second, navigate the intense geopolitical conflicts that get triggered over vital global trade routes, specifically Taiwan, as competing powers try to contain that technological expansion. It's all highly systematic.
See, AI doesn't view global conflicts as random chaos. Not at all. It maps them as calculated, systemic disruptions. We're talking about events like U.S. military raids in Venezuela to remove leadership, or pushing Turkey toward NATO isolation via strategic insurgencies, or attempts to neutralize Pakistan's nuclear potential to stop pan-Islamic alliances. Even the continuation of endless wars to sustain the military-industrial complex. The algorithms simply recognize these as recurring historical trends that major powers use to secure strategic dominance.
Section 4. Internal Instability, a Year of Global Shifts. Let's look inward, because intense geopolitical pressure almost always cracks a nation's domestic foundation.
The algorithms are remarkably good at capturing this trend of immense domestic polarization. Just check out the timeline for 2026, a Gen Z uprising in Bangladesh leading to a massive election shift, the Netherlands electing its youngest ever prime minister, Hungary's long-standing leader getting ousted after 16 years. We are seeing frustrated populations all over the world systematically rejecting the status quo.
And we see this super clearly in the US too. AI maps domestic fractures, like the intense clashes over immigration or massive anti-war protests, as highly predictable responses to controversial foreign policies. Internal instability is rarely just isolated to domestic issues, right? It's deeply connected to a nation's external actions and the heavy economic toll those endless wars take on its citizens.
Finally, Section 5. Human Agency in an AI-Mapped World. Let's tie all these algorithmic threads together and figure out what this actually means for us.
Here is the ultimate takeaway from all this data. Yes, AI perfectly maps the global chessboard. It reads the debt, the energy sectors, the military deployments, and the shifting alliances. But guys, it's not a prophecy engine. It only reveals the incentives of elite decision-makers based on historical patterns. It shows us the board, but humans are still the ones playing the game.
So ultimately, we've got to ask ourselves a huge question. If the algorithms can only read the structural blueprints of our world, who holds the real power to change the human decisions that shape our future? AI might give us the ultimate map of 2026, but human agency still holds the steering wheel. The algorithm has shown us the board. So what's our next move? Thanks for tuning into this explainer. I'll catch you next time.